Hi guys, welcome to Premier League Prediction Week 8, and our lunchtime kickoff for tomorrow is Crystal Palace versus West Bromwich Albion. Now, I watched Crystal Palace last week against Watford. It wasn't the best of games to watch, to tell you the truth, but they did get the win and probably deserved the win in the end. They came the most attacking side towards the end. West Bromwich Albion, on the other hand, found themselves 2-0 up at home to Everton on the Monday night and then ended up losing 3-2, so I think that they'll be a bit more cautious in defence this week, and I think they would have worked on that in training. And I think it's going to be quite a tight game, this one, so I've gone Crystal Palace 1, West Bromwich Albion 1. Then we move to the 3 o'clock kickoffs, which we start with Manchester City versus Newcastle, and oh my god, what the hell happened to Manchester City last week? I, for one, did not see that coming. We can argue that 3 of them goals were offside, but other than that, Manchester City was just terrible last week. The defending was awful, and it just wasn't like watching Manchester City last week. It was like watching Arsenal sometimes on a bad day, like when they went to Liverpool and Chelsea and that. It was just atrocious, and it does prove what it can be like. You know, losing the spine of your the centre back, which was Vincent Kompany, and Joe Hart as well. You know, it really does prove how much of a difference makes. And they've been on quite bad form recently, you know, Manchester City. You know, they lost to Juventus, then they lost to West Ham. Okay, they did bounce back and beat Sunderland in the Capital One Cup. And then there was the Tottenham game. But, you know, they did win on Wednesday night in the Champions League game. I know that people are going to say that Newcastle will be a walk in the park for Manchester City tomorrow. I don't particularly think it'll be a walk in the park, but I do think that this is the best chance for Manchester City to get back on board, you know, especially with Arsenal and Manchester United playing this weekend. So I've gone for a tight win, and I've gone Manchester City 2, Newcastle 1. Then I've gone for Sunderland 0, West Ham 2. I think that's more along the lines of how I've just seen that West Ham have performed away from home this year. Going to Arsenal, getting fantastic results at Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester City, and I think that, you know, Sunderland will probably be the most easiest game of the lot, you know, away from home at the moment. So that's probably more along the lines of thinking in that game. I know that football doesn't always work that way, but I do think that West Ham can probably go to Sunderland tomorrow and get quite an easy 3 points there. I could be proven wrong there. Then we have Norwich 2, Leicester 2. We always seem to go 2-2 when it comes to Leicester, don't I? I think that's more than ours. As you saw with last week, even when it was against Arsenal, you know, Leicester will always attack. You know, they always attack, but that way they'll always score goals as well. Okay, they'll always let goals in, but they'll always attack. And I think they'll do well this year, Leicester. I can't see them being in the relegation, but if they carry on the way they're doing, because as I say, I know they're conceding a lot, but they are, you know, getting. And last week was their first loss as well. So I think they'll get back on board this week, you know, with a point, being away from home. And Norwich are quite an attacking team too, so I think we're in for a lively game there. Then we have Bournemouth versus Watford, and I've gone 2-1 for this game to Bournemouth. Sorry, Bournemouth 2-1. I know that they got that devastating news of Callum Wilson in the week that he'll be out for 6 months. But being at home, I think that Bournemouth can win this game, so I've gone 2-1. Then we have a West Midlands derby, which is Aston Villa versus Stoke. Two teams that haven't really got going this year. I mean, okay, we can argue that Villa did quite well to get back from being 3-0 down against Liverpool, but again, it was another loss. On the other hand, Stoke did win last week against Bournemouth, but they're just not quite looking like they were last year. You know, they haven't really got their seasons going yet, Villa or Stoke. And being a derby, you always walk into them kind of games saying that you'd be happy with a point before a ball's even kicked. So I've gone Villa 1, Stoke 1. Then we move to the 5:30 kickoff, which is Chelsea versus Southampton, and we can say that Chelsea did very well to come back from being 2-0 down, and they even could have won it actually in the end. You know, they came very, very strong and very lively towards the last 20 minutes to 15 minutes against Newcastle. Southampton, on the other hand, they did get a fantastic win against Southampton last week. They got a fantastic win against Swansea last week. Southampton kind of a good win against Southampton. They had a good win against Swansea last week, and they're starting to get their season going now. As I said, they got that 6-0 win. I can't remember who it was against now, but they got that 6-0 win in the Capital One Cup, and then obviously beating Swansea 3-1 last week. And I actually do fancy their chances to go to the bridge and get something tomorrow. So I've gone Chelsea 1, Southampton 1. Then we move to the Sunday kickoffs, which is a fantastic, tasty Merseyside derby, a half-one kickoff, Everton versus Liverpool. And with Everton last week, coming back from being sorry, can't get my words out this week. Being 2-0 down against West Bromwich Albion to come back and win 3-2, that shows again great character, and they don't, a bit like Leicester, they won't give up until that final whistle, and as it proves, it does pay off. And being at home as well, and as I say, Liverpool aren't exactly looking their best this week, and okay, I know they beat Villa last week 3-2, but there were still times in that game they looked a bit shaky, and they looked a bit vulnerable, and apparently they didn't look very good yesterday in the Europa League either. So for this game, I know a lot of Liverpool fans are going to thank me for this being a Merseyside derby, but I've gone Everton 2, Liverpool 0. We have two 4 o'clock kickoffs. The first one is Swansea versus Tottenham, and I think Swansea will want to bounce back. Obviously losing 3-1 to Southampton last week. I mean, that wouldn't have been the best result for them. I don't think they would have been walking into that expecting that kind of result and to play the way they did as well. Tottenham, on the other hand, they drew to Monaco again yesterday as well, same with Liverpool. And sometimes, having a big win like they did against Manchester City, it can sometimes make you a bit overconfident and take a lot out of you as well. And again, they've got to be a bit cautious in defence, being away from home. So I think it'll be a bit of a tighter game this week. So I've gone Swansea 1, Spurs 1. And obviously we finish off the weekend with Arsenal versus Manchester United. And obviously Manchester United got their win in the Champions League on Wednesday night. But on the other hand, Arsenal did not. They have lost another Champions League game. The camp seems to be down again at the moment. But what we must remember, Arsenal fans, is we are only 3 points behind Manchester United in the title race in the Premier League. So we're not doing very well in the Champions League at the moment, but we're not doing too bad in the Premier League. And I think with Petr Cech being brought back into the squad on Sunday, and I think he'll play quite a fairly decent squad. We have been given the news that Lauren Koscielny will be out. I think that'll either bring Per Mertesacker into it or Colin Chambers alongside Gabriel. And I think I fancy a chance in this game, not to win it, but I've gone Arsenal 1, Man U 1. Again, I think both teams are quite vulnerable at the back, but both are quite good going forward too. So I think this is, I think 1-1 will probably be on the cards. So that has been my predictions for this week, guys. Comment in the comment section below, especially you Liverpool fans. I want to hear what you think, and the Everton fans for the Merseyside derby. Arsenal fans, Man U fans, what do you think the result will be? Where do you even see your team finishing this year? And anybody that's watching this, whatever team you support, where do you think you'll finish this year in the table? Where would you like to finish? And do give it a thumbs up if you like this video. And I will see you in 2 weeks' time because it's an international break. And as always, thank you for watching, guys, and giving me the support.